Hi there, I'm Audrey Williams. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. Today we want to spend some time looking at work done to eliminate pit latrines in schools.
Since 2012, we have replaced 137 pit latrines with flush toilets. 50 more are under construction right now. This upgrade is a big part of affirming our dignity, our young people's dignity. They'll all be gone by the end of next year, Mr. Speaker.
And to beat or not to beat, the concern of many parents as we try to apply appropriate disciplinary measures. I've been there many times. Keep watching. The details and so much more all inside our Thursday package.
Fever, rash, joint pain and red eyes. All common signs of the Zika virus or ZIKV. Symptoms are usually mild, lasting anywhere from a few days to a week. Jamaica has no Zika cases, but if it gets here, it would only be transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Don't give Zika a chance. Prevent the breeding of these pesky mosquitoes.
The use of oil, cooking oil, a little tip of cooking oil poured on the surface of the water suffocates the larvae and prevents them hatching out. So persons can do that.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean. Cause it's so easy for germs multiply. You better wash your hands, it can save your own life. Wash your hand them clean, nobody spread no disease now. Hand washing is key.
A message from the Ministry of Health and PAHO.
Good day, I'm Andrea Chisholm and this is your JIS News for Thursday, November 19. The Finance Ministry says public sector workers will get their retroactive travelling allowances for the April to October period in the first quarter of the next fiscal year, which begins April 2016. In a release, the ministry said the agreed payments were being scheduled with this fiscal year's budgetary allocations in mind. The Finance Ministry further stated that it would continue to assess existing resources to identify an earlier payment period. Public sector workers are asked to continue cooperating with the government as they work towards honoring all commitments for the 2015-2017 contract period. All salary arrears for the April to September period were paid in October. And in the November pay cycle, public sector workers will begin getting their agreed salary increase, the new travelling rates, as well as the retroactive salaries for October. In the meantime, the island's civil servants are being lauded for making Jamaica one of the 10 most improved economies in the world. Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips gave the commendation on Wednesday at the Jamaica Civil Service Long Service Awards. He said civil servants had given efficient service to facilitate ordinary Jamaicans as well as investors. Dr. Phillips added that public sector transformation continued to be a priority under Jamaica's economic reform program.
It will require that we continue to improve the quality of service that is provided through the public sector. And I have no doubt that given the appropriate tools and systems, that we have the capacity among our own civil servants to achieve world-class efficiencies in this area.
331 public servants with 25 or more years of service were recognized at Wednesday's ceremony. Government is in discussions with Cuban and Chinese interests about the possible establishment of a solar assembly plant in Jamaica. Portfolio Minister Philip Powell says part of the plan is the supply of photovoltaic systems for local and overseas markets. Photovoltaic has to do with changing solar energy into direct electricity. Minister Powell says there is a growing appetite for renewable energy inputs.
We really are seeing an explosion in the use of solar systems across Jamaica. And in fact, Jamaica now stands head and shoulders above the Caribbean in terms of the use of solar PV system.
The Energy Minister was speaking with JIS News following a tour of Phase 3 of the Wigton Wind Farm project. Donald Quarry High in St. Andrew now has 3 additional classrooms to accommodate students. The classrooms, built at a cost of $12 million, form part of plans to take the school off the shift system.
And I make a promise that the Ministry of Education will do everything possible to make sure that in next year's financing there is space for a block of classrooms here that will take you closer to the single shift, to put away the double shift system that has been such a cramp on your outcomes.
The Education Minister was speaking at the official opening ceremony on Tuesday. Parliament has passed the Administrator General's Fees Collection Validation Indemnity Act 2015. It seeks to confirm the actions of the Administrator General's Department and its agents when an investment fee collected was different from the one that was published. Attorney General Patrick Atkinson says the rate collected was 0.75 of 1%, but the published rate was 0.75% of 1%.
The Administrator General, Mr. Speaker, and the employees and agents thereof acted in good faith when they collected the investment fee at the rate which conformed to the policy, but not published in the Gazette.
And finally, Justice Minister Senator Mark Golding will receive the Kurt Schmoke Award for achievement in the field of law. Senator Golding will be presented with the award at the International Drug Policy Reform Conference in Washington on Friday, November 20. A release says the award recognizes those involved in law who have worked within official institutions when extremist pressures dominate government policies. Senator Golding played a key role in advancing government support for recent changes to the Dangerous Drugs Act. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Thank you for watching.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
The Ministry of Education is on a thrust now to remove pit latrines from schools in the rural areas. And to date, the JCF has completed 36 of these units, and we are slated to complete another 22.
It's World Toilet Day, an observance which looks at improving sanitation among vulnerable groups. And here in Jamaica, government has made significant improvements in the elimination of pit latrines in schools. Just last week, Education Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaites opened a new toilet facility at Brinkley Primary in St. Elizabeth. He gave this update on what has been done and the other schools to benefit.
Proper hygiene, proper care of the environment is a critical element in education and in personal development. The government has provided resources, and we have partnered, as John told you, with Food for the Poor. We provide some resources. They got some assistance to do some on their own. The Jamaica Social Investment Fund, the Chase Fund, and many private benefactors have helped us to reach a point where this is one of a segment of 50 upgraded sanitary facilities in primary schools, which will be completed this month.
Food for the Poor is very happy to partner in this with the Ministry of Education, and Minister Thwaites is going to let you know that he has a singular vision to cure the problem of the amount of schools in Jamaica that still had toilets that are only pit latrines. And Food for the Poor, JCF, CASE, Digicel Foundation all of us are working with the minister to try and make this dream come true for not just this community, but all the others in Jamaica.
We are happy for this new facility. We want to give thanks for the partnership with Food for the Poor, and also for the community members and for the staff who volunteered their time to make this a reality.
And I want to tell you and others that we have another 37 that we are contracting with Food for the Poor to do. And we are confident that by the end of this academic year, no school in Jamaica will have pit latrines only anymore.
Be an active participant in your child's life. Spend time with your child. No phones, no television, no distractions. Just the two of you. Get to know your child through play. Why not go to the park and get on the monkey bars? Sharing a meal can also be a time of bonding. If your child's in school, be involved in school activities. Speak with your child's teacher, follow up on their progress in school, and see how you can help. Assist them with homework. Attend parent-teacher meetings and support school fundraising events. Remember, your child's future is in your hands. Safeguard it.
So glad you are a child of mine.
Up next, corporal punishment. Is it abuse or disciplinary measure? The National Parenting Support Commission, a body set up by the Ministry of Education, held a public sensitization forum to outline the difference and build awareness among parents and guardians.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next prime minister. I say if you watch what you saying to me daughter, cause in the long run she could be your doctor.
Should you beat them? Should you not beat them? Beating versus beat up.
This year, we are on a journey towards helping parents with effective parenting. We are here to support parents through education, through making you more aware, through research, resources. We're bringing to you our first in a series of community forums, dubbed Disciplining a Child in an Age-Appropriate Way. Why? We've been getting a lot of calls from parents saying that their children are just driving them crazy. They just don't know what to do. What we want to do is empower you so that you can go back to your communities and pass on the message.
Coming from a scriptural perspective, and I want to use one of the most provocative texts that I think many persons misunderstand. And that is Proverbs chapter 13:24. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. The rod has been mistaken many times. I do believe and I do share that, yes, a child can be spanked, but it must be properly done. It must be done out of love and not through anger. If a parent is angry, I don't think at any time the child should be touched. The child must be disciplined with love.
What the research, Jamaican research says is that children who are beaten are also more likely to be very aggressive. Now, at UNICEF, we don't subscribe to the beating or beat up philosophy. We don't think there is a choice. We think discipline should be about developing the child. And the research suggests that physical punishment, including beating, don't help in that regard.
My mother never understood what it was to have a light hand. You know that like what them say, oh, drive a foot, them heavy on the pedal. Why? She floor it. And so, my siblings and I experienced abuse at the highest levels. Whether it was from the knife, from teeth in Aketa the pot, and then she push her hand in there and say enough teeth, which I thought were common mischief that any child would commit. My mother died when I was 9. My brother a year before. Brother was bad man and thing, and we go crush her ends and him get shot. 3 shots, and he died in front of me. And so, as a child, I had experienced so much hurt. Not just from the physical pain, but the emotional hurt as well. After my mother died, I was living on the street for about a year and a half. But I can say right now that because of the Child Development Agency, I'm able to stand where I am without being incarcerated or dead right now. And so life took a turn for the better. So push your children, encourage your children, love your children.
If you need to make a report, you hear that a child has been, is being, or is likely to be abused sexually, physically, emotionally, or is in need of care and protection, you may call the Office of the Children's Advocate, or you can call the OCR at 1-888-PROTECT, and they will ensure that the matter is passed on to the relevant agency for investigation.
Right now, if my child do something bad, I'm gonna beat her. So are you saying not to hit her? Because I'm not saying, I say it's discipline, you know, because being honest, it feels like a cultural thing. Once you're rude, you get beaten.
You do not need to hit your child. I would wonder why you need to hit her. You're about 8 times her body weight. If a man 8 times your body weight hits you, what would you do? If you teach your child to receive blows from you, you're teaching your child to receive blows from anyone.
I would like to know how you go about teenagers who are in school smoking and hard drugs and those things. How you go about
Behavior?
how you go about schooling those?
The first thing to do is get that child to a counselor, because there's a reason why they would have started abusing drugs. There's always a reason, either through peer pressure or access, or it's a family thing.
A counselor. In this society, almost everything costs money. Enough parents don't have it.
All right, there are some free clinics around, I can tell you about them. There is the Child Guidance Clinic, and there are many child guidance clinics all over the island. Many of them are actually attached to the hospital.
Sometimes it involves taking them to this police station and let the police give them a verbal warning, let them know that you are serious.
So simple things like timeout, right? Where they have to go, if a child is 2 years old and has done something which is not within the rules of the household, that child is asked to stand in a corner, sit in a special chair, go to a place for usually it's a number of minutes related to the age of the child. So a 2-year-old, 2 minutes quiet time, no talking, nothing.
What we want you to recognize is that you don't need to slap the child at all. What we want you to do is create a disciplinary structure around the child from that child is at infant stage, so that that disciplinary structure grows with your child.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I have something to hurt them.
That's the old way of doing things. Introducing Government of Jamaica Electronic Procurement, a speedy, transparent and accessible online method used to bid for government contracts. Contact the Ministry of Finance and Planning for more information.
Science and technology has revolutionized the way we do things. We can now process financial transactions online, communicate through social media, and even start a car with the press of a button. Can you remember where we're coming from? Our little Jamaica? From mere tracks to highways. Come, let's reflect a little. From live animal power to mechanized speed under the hood, narrow walkways and dirt tracks to multi-lane pavements and overhead carriageways.
The technology of transportation in Jamaica has come a long way.
Planes, trains, and automobiles on the Jamaican landscape have evolved over the decades and centuries. Go back in time, say the late 18th, entire 19th, and even the early 20th century, and you're likely to find these. A mode of transportation that involved harnessing the power of animals. The not-so-simple carriages of yesteryear are the precursors to the pavement-eating machines that now use motors designed to convert energy into useful mechanical motion. By the latter part of the 1800s, trams, horseless, metal, steam-powered carriages running on tracks were a feature of Jamaican roadways. They were preceded by the railroad, Jamaica being one of the first in the Americas. And by the mid-1900s had entirely moved aside to make room for the cars and buses that run independently on the paved streets that have been laid over former gravel and dirt tracks. After making landfall, the airways and sea lanes weren't far behind for motor technology. It's believed that the Jamaican skies saw its first plane in December 1911, when an American aviator, Jesse Seligman, took flight at the Knutsford Park Racecourse in what is now New Kingston. The national carrier Air Jamaica, now Caribbean Airlines, had its first departure flight to Miami on May 1, 1966. Commercial and domestic aviation is now a fully established mode of transportation for people and goods in Jamaica. The 1800s brought steamships, and steam vessels quickly made their way to Jamaican waterways, eventually making room for the motorized speedboats, heavy cargo ships, and cruise liners that we now find berthed at Jamaican docks. And after a long run, broken by about 2 decades of inactivity, passenger train service in Jamaica resumed in early 2011, at least on a trial basis.
The system of communication has had its own technological revolution, and Jamaica has steadily remained in the know. Did you know that Jamaica received telephone service just 2 years after the invention of the device?
In 1939, all major towns were connected through the all-island trunk telephone service, and April 1 was the day registered in history when the first connection was opened to the public, allowing persons to bypass the operator and dial direct. A few years earlier, 1936, brought the inauguration of a radio telephone service, allowing some people to speak directly with others in North America, England, Mexico, and Cuba. Then, the late 1900s and early 21st century witnessed an explosion of information technology in Jamaica. And going back, the earlier telephone technology had actually spawned its own offshoot in the telegram, a device somewhere between the paper mail and the type most common today.
Radio and television media in Jamaica have also come a far way. Telephone and radio had been around for quite some time, allowing Jamaicans to pick up foreign radio stations. But it was not until July 9 of 1950 that commercial broadcasting actually started in Jamaica.
That 1950s development brought us the Jamaica Broadcasting Company, later known as Radio Jamaica Limited, RJR. A cable radio service preceded it. Now, this came with a receiver box that would allow you to pick up the signal and then you could listen.
The occasion on which I address you is somewhat historic because this is the first time that the head of the government of the island has been able to address the people of Jamaica through the medium of a Jamaican broadcasting station.
The birth of Jamaica's first television station, the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation JBC 1963, was certainly a big deal. Through the decades, the spectrum has blossomed and satellites, cable and TV phones have made Jamaica a fully audio-visual nation.
Householders, business people, school administrators, be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET.
It's time to go, but I have a wise word from the late Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Begin today and every day onward to treat each other with respect. That's how we want to be treated as well, right? Yeah man, let's do it. Another Jamaica magazine comes your way tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm, and keep sending your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Audrey Williams. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.